page just to leave room for his arms. We're not drawing in his whole body, so if you want to do that, feel free to. But I'm going to start up here with that circle, keeping it very nice and light as I'm sketching it in. Drawing all these light, loose lines as I'm building it up. Now, I'm not really worried about making a perfect circle just because, you know, we're just using this as a foundation just to get the nice round portion of the spoon part of the spork. So it doesn't really matter if it's like exactly on par because we're going to add more on top of this. But I'm going to cut this in half from top to bottom. And we're going to stretch that line underneath this so it looks like a lollipop and also a little bit above it as well. That's going to help us with the fork portion of the spork. Now I'm going to add in just a little bit higher than the circle, the stretched out rainbow, really, really stretched out rainbow. And I'm going to connect it down to the sides of the circle. So it should look like a stemless wine glass right now. I'm going to go under here and I'm going to build up the bottom of the spork just by adding in what looks more like the stretched out U. So it's almost like we're extending it out to create like a, you know, like an actual wine glass. But in order to create the handle of the spork, I'm going to add in 2 straight lines on either side of that vertical guideline. And now we have a spoon. But we don't want a spoon, we want a spork. So we're going to add in this space between the top of the circle and the top line here, this is where we're going to draw in the fork prongs. So I'm going to use the center guideline to draw in this V shape. This is going to be the middle of the prongs. And then you're just going to draw in 2 V shapes on either side. So there should be 3 V shapes in total, but it'll give you 4 prongs up at the top to create a fork. Of course, this is something that we're going to keep, so I'm going to go back around and I'm going to start to darken up these lines. If you make a mistake or if there's something that you don't like, feel free to adjust it while it's still nice and light. You only want to darken up the things that you want to keep by the end of your drawing. So as you can see, I'm adding in these like darker, thicker lines, and even just one side to the other, these lines stand out more than the other ones over here on this side. Now we're going to go around and we're going to darken up the entire silhouette of our spork. But if you're like me, when I first heard that this character's name is Forky, I almost called him Sporky. See, there you go. And you're wondering, like, why is he not called Sporky? Well, the creators of Toy Story 4, they needed to figure out how this character was going to look. They always knew that Bonnie was going to craft him, but they didn't know what he was going to look like. Ordinarily, with any character in animation, artists are drawing that character over and over and over again, kind of refining their details and really kind of exploring what this, the different ways that this character could look like. And a good example of this is over here on my left-hand side, your right-hand side, up on the wall over here. There's 5 different interpretations of a character from Mulan. Does anyone recognize who it is? That's Mushu, yeah. This is what we call character development. So character designers come in and they're trying to figure out what this character is going to look like. Usually it's a drawn process, we draw it, but because Forky was crafted in Toy Story 4, they decided to craft thousands and thousands of these little like dudes made from utensils. They made like spoon people, knife people, and also spork people, and different colors, different outlines, and trying to figure out what was the best combination. And the winning design that you see in Toy Story 4 is the one that pretty much beat out all the others. So the directors took this home, and he actually had a son who was around the same age as Bonnie. So he went to this, like his son, and was like, "What would you name this guy?" And his son said, "Fork Face." And so they couldn't use that, you know. Could you imagine buying a shirt that says Fork Face on it? It doesn't look like a good, it's not a good vibe. But it did give a light bulb moment to him where he realized that maybe a child that young as Bonnie, would not recognize what a spork is, would see the fork portion, and so voila, we have Forky. I don't know why I added an accent, that's just how it is. Now, one of the coolest parts about Forky is just his eyes. Oh my god, he's so silly. He's portrayed by Tony Hale, which that cracks me up in a nutshell because Tony Hale is so funny to me. So I'm going to add in this guideline. You want this to go a little bit higher. If you're looking at the circle itself, it's not in the middle of the circle, it's a little bit higher in the circle. Because we're going to draw one of his Google eyes really big over here on the left-hand side. And he's got one tiny Google eye over here on the right. So it almost looks like a letter 8 tilting to its side. I'm gonna darken this up, but the funniest thing, honestly, Forky does a lot of things. I feel like there's two people out in the world. You either love Forky or you don't. Man, I love Forky. We were dying seeing him in the theater. And one of my favorite things that he does is because his Google eyes move around a lot. He'll be staring at something and then one of his Google eyes will just like tink, fall down to the bottom of his eye. It's the best thing ever. You can draw that in if you want to. In fact, you can change up the shape of his eyes if you want to give him heart eyes, maybe little pumpkins. Halloween is coming up. You want to give him some hitty Mickeys. But I'm just going to keep it pretty classic. I'm just going to draw in circles. Now these circles are going to go inside of the Google eyes, and they're going to be nice and dark because you want all the focus and attention. But I am going to draw one of his Google eyes falling downward because I just think that is so funny. This like little dead look that it has in it. It's everything to me. All right, so now that I got his eyes in place, we can start adding in more of the other facial features. His mouth and his eyebrow are made of very particular thing called Wixie stick. It's this kind of flexible, kind of sticky thing. Not Play-Doh, but it's a little bit wire. But as you can see, he's got a unibrow. We got a great model over here on the front row. We got Forky right here himself. You know, he has a lot of different emotions, so we can either draw him like panicked, or we can draw him happy. What do y'all think? Happy or panicked? Man, you guys are no fun. Okay, I guess we'll draw him happy, I guess. Gosh. Why can't we draw him having anxiety? That's me every day of my life. I'm going to draw in these two rainbows. To draw him happy, of course, you can always draw him panicked if you want to. That's the other two emotions that he has. I'm going to draw in ththese two rainbows. Because again, he's unibrow. I'm going to lock these in so we can see these a little bit more. But then on either side here, I'm just going to add in just a cute little curved C shape. So it looks like one whole thing. And then feel free to go back in and shade this in. Because he is a white utensil, you know, he's got that white color. Shading this in helps to showcase that this is a different color. It also helps to showcase that it's just one whole thing. But I would say right now we're about halfway done. How are we doing so far? All right, got a lot of good. It's great here. Are y'all having fun though? All right, rock on, as you should be. As much fun as you can drawing a utensil. So it's all good. But to draw in his smile, you know, we're gonna draw in a like U shape. Almost looks like if anyone's ever seen Sailor Moon, I know you have. You're gonna draw in this like crescent moon shape here down in the space between the eye and the bottom of his handle. And you want the ends to be pointy, but just stick with me here. Because this should be the same thickness as the Wixie stick on top, what we're going to do is once you have this very like sharp kind of crescent moon shape locked in, you want to go around and just mimic that same curve, but instead of drawing in a sharp edge on the end, you want to round this out to make it look just a little cuter, a little softer, and this is what's going to make Forky look like himself. Now, Forky is a very specific type of spork. He's actually a Pizza Planet spork. He's got the Pizza Planet logo on his backside, so you can see it very clearly in the film. So it's just another little kind of like Easter egg when it comes to Toy Story. But we hopefully will see, and probably will see a little bit more of Forky. He does have his own short series on Disney Plus called Forky Asks a Question. It is hilarious. He is just the silliest, little goofiest, and lowest IQ little utensil I've ever met in my life. But he's great, and then we'll probably see him a little bit more in Toy Story 5. Yeah, that's right, we are getting a Toy Story 5. We are. No, they did announce it a while back, so give it 3 years, and we'll probably see it a little bit more. Who knows if we'll see Forky, but I don't know about you. Some people are like, ooh, the third one was the best one to end it on. Wrong! Until Andy is back with Woody, it's never over for me. It will never be done. It will never be over. Toy Story 10. They can have 50 million Fast and Furious movies. I can have 10 Toy Story movies, okay? We're gonna go to war with Universal right now. All right. So as you can see, I drew in very lightly at first this like kind of soft X shape. This is where we're drawing in his arms. So these are pipe cleaner arms. You can see here from him just being up on the stage, the arms are very fuzzy. So I don't use a straight line. I use the side of my pencil, and I'm almost like using it as like a crayon. And when you're drawing in the arms, you just want to keep in mind that they bend, right? They have a metal frame on the inside. So you can have his arms doing anything that you want. He could be waving, he could be doing the conga, he could be doing the Macarena. Honestly, have fun with this when it comes to him. He could be saluting. I don't know, it's up to you. I don't know why I'm just saying random things. But at the end here, his hands remind me a lot of like petals, like on a flower. So I'm just gonna round these out. And technically he's got 3 like petal things on either side, so just up to you. You can draw in more or less. It really is at this point artist preference. But once you have this in, that's all you're gonna need for your very own Forky. It's a little trash. Yeah, that's what he says. He's like, trash. And then he's like, no, you're a toy. He's like, I love when he's like, trash. God, I just love him. We bond at a certain level because I am also trash. No, it's true. Are you kidding me? I'm like 10 hours deep into Baldur's Gate 3. I am trash. Only the nerds get that one. You can give him a little bit of blush. Bonnie actually uses a little bit of crayon just to add in just little cheeks. Just adds a little bit of cuteness to him. But once you're done, the final and last thing left to do is just don't forget to find a good spot somewhere next to him. Don't forget to sign your name because you've just completed your very own rough sketch of Forky! All right, so now that we're done, how did we do? All right, got a lot of goods. Can't wait to see these. So on the count of 3, whether you're finished or not, I want you to turn your boards around. I want you to show off your sketches of Forky. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's see Forky! Oh my gosh, look how happy he is. Oh, Forky's got some sass. His hand's on his hip. I love it. Great job. He's panicked over here. Great. Look at these eyes. Love these eyes. Honestly, you look so good. Great job over here as well. Love the big C6, the wig C6 over here. Looks like he's got the Macarena going on. Very cute. I gotta say, I'm gonna remember all of these. Give yourselves a nice big round of applause. You're doing such an excellent job with your sketches. Congratulations. These are yours to take home with you today, so just don't forget them as you're exiting out. But down here in the front, I like your sassy Forky. The hand on the hip is everything to me, so I like to give this one to you so you can take home with you.